Anyways, we're here. We're back up in here. PodBoi West says he has a job. Don't know what that is.
Bitch. You really don't. Gomez.
Speaking of job, it's 9:10. I gotta go to bed. Sorry, I gotta get up early for my job.
All right, podcast canceled. Anyways, I want to start off by saying, let me tell y'all the top 5 in the college football playoff.
Top 5 on the podcast. Number 1, Savannah.
I don't know about that. That's a hot take.
Nah.
Alright, so
hot take.
At number 1, we got LSU.
Ooh, that's strong.
Number 2,
Very strong.
We got Ohio State. Number 3, Clemson.
The Ohio State.
No, it's just Ohio State.
The
Fuck 'em.
Ohio State.
3, Clemson. 4, Georgia. 5, Alabama. 6, U of O. 7, U of U. Utah. And 8, University of Minnesota.
Gotta
You
drink
ain't gonna
this,
say 9? 9's got a chance to make it back in.
9 is the Penn State. And 10 is
The Nittany
Oklahoma. So, what's y'all's debriefment of those top 10? You think they got it right, or you think that maybe the committee needs to shake themselves?
LSU earned their spot for sure. Talk about a
They should have been there all
ass
along.
whooping.
The thing that I kind of have an issue with is I don't like this placement of Georgia and Alabama.
What?
Georgia, I think is. I do think Georgia
It smells
has.
better now that it's not like fresh.
I do think Georgia has earned it over Alabama, but I think that Alabama really maybe should have dropped a little more because you look at Alabama's schedule and they haven't really played any good opponents. And they lost the only difficult game they've played.
Okay, but Georgia lost to South Carolina.
Yeah, but they also beat the
But
number
they lost
11
to
team.
South Carolina.
They beat the number
They
11
lost to
and number
South Carolina.
I think Oregon should be over Alabama.
and number 16.
See, the thing is, too, like, you look at it, though,
I'm
any of the top 9 teams within these last 3 weeks have a chance of being in the top 4.
well. I also don't understand, and we'll talk about them a little later on.
How bad they
Baylor-
got screwed. They actually dropped.
Baylor, yes, dropped, and I know they went to overtime with TCU, but
They're still undefeated.
that's a rivalry
That's
game.
funny that 7 and 2 teams are over them.
And
Or-
8 and 2.
Yeah, Auburn's 7 and 2, and Florida's 8 and 2, and they're still. That's kind of weird.
See, no, but I was talking about this today. Like, if you think about it, if LSU wins out, they'll play Georgia in the SEC championship. But if Georgia beats LSU, then how's that going to shape up But I mean, also Ohio State will either have to play Utah again. No, not Utah. They'll have to play Penn State
And Minnesota.
And then Oregon, if they win out and don't lose again, they'll have to play Utah.
I see a situation this year, and I know that once I say it, an odd situation will arise. But I think that even if, let's say, Georgia beats LSU, or if LSU wins, I can see a situation this year when honestly there will be 4 different conferences in there, because I think if Oregon wins out, that tough matchup against Auburn that they lost in kind of thrilling fashion, since that was week 1, I don't think should be held against them. I personally think they should be over Georgia and Alabama right now. But
See, I don't think they should be over Alabama because Alabama's lost to was the best team in the country by
but at
4
home
points. It don't matter.
at the Bryant Denny Stadium,
You're playing the best team in the country.
hot take, but
Their schedule says so. Strongest strength of schedule in the top 5, 10?
but if Minnesota wins out and beats Ohio State, they should be in there.
Mm-hmm.
If Ohio State wins out, obviously
They're
they're
gonna
not
be
going
in
to drop out. if Penn State beats Ohio State and wins the Big Ten, Penn State should probably be over there over Georgia and Alabama. My thing this year is the past couple of years, conference champions have had a slightly weak schedule, or like that it has allowed the SEC to get 2 teams in. I think this year that there are 4 or 5 conferences. Because I mean, look at Oklahoma. If they went out, they'd have to beat Baylor. If Baylor wins out, they'd have to beat Oklahoma.
The thing with
twice.
those two is, like, I don't think that neither one. Baylor should be higher than what they are, but I don't feel like with just the University of Oklahoma's loss that kind of screwed them. I feel like if I was on the committee, like, because you also got to look at who you lost to. Like, in my mind, Alabama should be higher than Georgia because LSU's a tougher opponent than South Carolina any day of the week. But then, like, you have University of Oklahoma who lost to Kansas State. And then, which, I mean, Oregon's loss was a bad loss, but at the same time, it was a good loss because it was a high-ranked opponent.
I think Utah's was USC.
No, it was Oregon. They lost by 2 points. 30 to 28. Okay. So they'll end up probably playing each other in the championship because they're East and West, or however they got theirs.
North and South,
and South.
But maybe if Clemson wins out, I personally, if I was doing the rankings just on talent, I would have Clemson probably down around the Penn State area.
What?
Clemson has not looked good this year.
But they're undefeated still. But
after they almost lost, they have been hanging it on people.
The resume looks okay.
I could see you saying that they should be number 4 or 5 maybe, but like...
Look, they've been hanging it on people, but they aren't playing anybody. Look at Oregon. Oregon would drop 100 on these fools.
Other than LSU, who has Alabama played this year?
Nobody. That's what I'm saying. They should be dropped.
See, but that's the thing, too. I know Alabama's definitely been proven, especially the last, decade. But Clemson has, by far, the best quarterback in college football.
Do they have Justin Fields? Yeah, I didn't think so. Do they have Joe Burrows? Nah, I didn't think so.
Trevor Lawrence is better than both of them.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Not this year.
Any year.
Dude, they gave up 14 points to Wofford, my guy. They're trash.
How many points did they put on Wofford?
Only 59.
Only 59.
I've got them on upset alert this week against Wake Forest.
You're right.
We're not picking this game, but I got them on upset alert.
No.
Wake Forest 7-2.
The only team that's going to come close to Clemson at the end of the year is going to be rivalry week, just because it's a tough week for everybody.
I hope that they lose. That way we can get LSU, Oregon, the Golden Gophers, and Baylor in the Final Four.
Well, first off, if Clemson loses, you know that's going to be 3 SEC teams in the top 4, right?
But I see a situation to where Alabama loses to Auburn in rivalry week.
I don't see it happening.
Because it's at Auburn this year.
It don't matter where it's at, son. When you got a well-coached Nick Saban team.
And you've already said, you put them on equal playing grounds. Georgia couldn't even step on the same field as LSU.
Oh, no, not a doubt.
Georgia's getting carried in the same way that Clemson is. They're not that good this year. They're playing a very weak schedule.
Clemson is good.
How many ranked opponents has Clemson played this year? Oh, wait.
I don't know. What's their schedule? You got it pulled up?
Absolutely 0.
Was A&M not ranked then?
It don't matter what they're ranked then. They are not ranked now.
Yeah, it does matter what they're ranked then.
They're booty.
You're booty.
I don't think they were ranked. They might have been, like, number 14. But they haven't played anyone ranked since then.
It don't matter. When it comes down to, in 3 weeks when the final decisions comes out.
I think we'll have 4 different conferences.
Clemson's going to be in it, no doubt.
Yeah, because they aren't playing. Even in their conference championship game, there is not going to be a ranked team in the ACC.
Here's the thing. Who did they play last year? Nobody.
But they played a lot harder schedule last year.
Who did they wax last year? Everybody.
All right, look. How many other ACC teams do you see in this top 25? Absolutely zero.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes. They're playing a cupcake schedule. Tennessee Tech could go undefeated in this schedule.
Okay, yeah, right.
TCU definitely could.
No, they couldn't.
Tennessee would definitely go 8-4 on this schedule.
Dude, they couldn't even beat the school of the blind.
I think when all this wraps up, though, I definitely think that this at the end of this year we'll have 4 different conferences.
Unless, here's the thing, though. If everybody wins out, there will be 2 SEC schools in the championship.
Everyone can't win out.
That's what I'm saying. If everybody right now in the top 4 wins out until they can't, it's going to be 4 SEC schools.
4?
Or 2 SEC schools. Because 1 and 4 will have to play each other. And if everybody wins out, nobody else is jumping anybody.
Yeah, but let's look. If they're playing in the conference championship game, 6 and 7 is playing in a conference championship game, and 1 and 4, LSU and Georgia are playing in a conference championship game, I think that 6 or 7 winning in a conference championship game jumps Alabama.
It's not going to jump them.
I think it does.
No, because you got to look. Because Oregon, this is what I feel like is going to kill Oregon. Their one loss was to a ranked Auburn. But it was also a, 20-point comeback? That should have never happened. Utah's loss is a good loss because it was to Oregon by 2 points.
Okay, but so you're saying if Utah beats Oregon,
they're still not going to jump Alabama.
I think they would.
No,
it'd be an extra win.
You got to think,
and they would avenge their loss.
The SEC
if
is
Utah
highly.
Beat Oregon,
the committee is highly going to favor SEC no matter what.
I don't think so. I think the committee might be tired of Alabama.
It ain't going to happen because you can't sit there and say their one loss to a 5. Was it 5 points? 4 or 5 points
at home.
It don't matter where.
But if you watch the game, LSU dominated the game.
Oh yeah, they did.
The eye test will tell you that Oregon has came a long way since that very first week. I don't know that you could say the same about Alabama when Alabama hasn't played that hard of a schedule.
But here's the thing: you can also make the argument the only reason Alabama lost is because their star quarterback was hurt.
Always something with Alabama, isn't it?
I mean, they were voted the best team of this decade, so.
Who was their competition?
And that's the thing, though. Even when they played good competition, they'd still beat them. What are you Googling now?
You know what?
Picking out my Christmas presents.
Oregon will be in the Final Four.
No, they won't.
Oregon. Here's my... All right, Savannah, I need your take as well. Final Four predictions. I think LSU wins out.
Obviously, LSU.
Number 2.
Well, who does LSU have left? They got Auburn left, don't they? I'm pretty sure.
I don't think anybody's going to beat them until they get to the playoffs, and then it'll be...
No, they already beat Auburn.
Let's see. Final Four. I'm going to take LSU at 1, Clemson 2.
But do you have everybody in the top 4 right now, other than
Minnesota
Georgia winning
3.
out? Oh, whoa.
Oregon 4.
So I guess you got Minnesota beating Ohio State.
I got Minnesota beating Ohio State. Yes. I think, and hear me out, Ohio State has a tough stretch at the end. I think Minnesota's slightly easier schedule
They only got 2
will
tough games.
benefit them. Yes, but Ohio State still has to play Penn State and Michigan. Those are 2 emotional games. And you throw in Minnesota at the end. I think Minnesota's going to catch them at a down point. I think Minnesota can beat Ohio State.
So here's the thing, though.
In championship week.
Say Ohio State loses to, they play Penn State first, right? Yeah, because Michigan's their rivalry game. They lose to Penn State, turn around and lose to Michigan. With Minnesota, well, then Minnesota would have to play. Would it still be Ohio State?
Probably. No, it'd be Penn State.
Penn State, if they played Penn State in a rematch.
And they beat them again, they're still in the Final Four.
Yeah. But then, of course, Ohio State drops out. Then you move everybody up. Then Georgia would lose. Assuming Georgia would lose to LSU, they'll drop out. And then you still got this 6 and 7 matchup. So that would only leave 2 teams. Well, 3 because you got Minnesota. Who would you put?
As the 4?
Mm-hmm. Because you'd have it between Alabama,
Oregon,
the winner of the Utah-Oregon game.
Winner Utah, Oregon, and I think it would be Oregon.
I don't think so. I think Utah is going to win that rematch.
Well, if Utah wins the rematch, it's the same as Oklahoma last year when Oklahoma beat Texas. And they avenged their only loss, showing that they're a tough team. So I think winner of it is the 4th team in my scenario.
That's the crazy thing, though. Like, within the last 3 weeks, everybody's schedule is really picking up, and that's where...
This could honestly be all blown up in 3 weeks' time.
Who's LSU's rivalry game? A&M?
Yeah, A&M.
That's trash.
They play Arkansas, Ole Miss, and A&M. So, arguably a very easy SEC... 3 of the easier SEC West schools.
They definitely got their hard games out early. See, I think though with Ohio State being number 2, and they play Rutgers next week. Okay, so of course they get freaking Chase Young back. The game they play Penn State.
Yeah. So who's your Final Four, Savannah? Or Atwell, you go on while Savannah.
Obviously, LSU. I think obviously Ohio State.
I mean, obviously they got a tough schedule coming up.
I think they're gonna win.
I mean, has Jim Harbaugh ever beat Ohio State?
Okay. Anyways, LSU, Ohio State. Oregon, Clemson.
Okay, you think Oregon would jump Clemson?
Yeah.
See, because Clemson is poo-poo this year.
Okay, watch when they get to the...
They just don't look strong enough, and I don't think they'll finish out strong enough to go over Oregon. I think they'll still make the playoffs, though.
And when it comes to playoff time, they'll show you that they've been overlooked.
Well, that's up to them.
Bro, it would be like Smith County playing in Gordonsville's.
That has nothing to do with the same.
Alright, who's your Final Four?
See, that's crazy because all these scenarios you got.
And my scenario also sees, and we'll discuss it a little more later, my scenario also sees Baylor and Oklahoma beating each other out of contention.
I'm going to go LSU number 1. I'm going to say eventually Ohio State loses to either Penn State or Minnesota. Were Penn State and Ohio State on the same side or no?
Yeah.
So they could.
That side is difficult, very difficult. If Penn State beats them, Penn State's in the championship game. If Penn State wins out,
so I'm going LSU at 1. I'm saying Ohio State loses, so I'm putting Clemson at 2. I feel like Ohio State has a chance to lose 2 games, and I feel like Penn State's going to come off pissed and beat Ohio State. Because ain't nobody care about rowing a boat. Penn State's pissed.
Rowing the boat is the best motto.
So 3, I'm going to say... So this is what I got happening. So in 3, I'm going to put... Georgia's going to lose to LSU. So I'll move Alabama to 3. And then 4, I'm going to say Utah. Because I have it as, of course, Georgia losing to LSU, Ohio State losing to Penn State, but Penn State coming back and beating Minnesota.
All right, so you got...
My top 4 is LSU, Clemson, Alabama, and Utah. Because I have Utah.
But if
Oregon.
Penn State won all that and beat Minnesota, you don't think they would jump?
No, I'm saying Ohio State beats Penn State.
Oh, okay.
And then...
they lose to Michigan?
Yeah, Ohio State loses to Michigan. Well, no, that would only put Ohio State on the. I still feel like they drop out after that.
Basically, we're in for an exciting finish to the season. And I'm really thinking about buying a Row the Boat shirt for $16.50. Okay, on to the games. We'll do our Ivy League game of the week. Yale versus Princeton.
I didn't even open this up to look yet.
I have not either.
Are these the 4 games we picked up?
Yes.
Where's the... We picked out 5 games.
I put in Yale versus Princeton.
You didn't put it on here, though.
Yeah, well, I just told you. Anyways, I'm picking...
I didn't come prepared.
I am picking for tickets as low as $27 on Vivid Seats.
Where's it at?
It is at Princeton in New Jersey.
That's not that bad. Let's drive.
I don't know about it, Chief.
I'm going to pull it up.
Princeton's coming off that loss to Dartmouth.
A pretty decent, hefty
12
loss.
hours is not that bad.
27-10 over to Dartmouth, and Yale lost 42-10, but it was at Dartmouth and earlier in the season. They've had some big wins, scoring some points as of late. I think the Yale Bulldogs get the win over the Princeton Tigers. Sorry, Uncle Phil. All right, who you got, Savannah?
Between who?
Princeton and Yale.
Princeton.
All right, that's a quick pick. Who
Yeah.
you got, Atwood? Rubber band pick.
The what?
It's like a rubber match. If you're the deciding factor. Savannah.
I'm sorry.
Atwood, who you got?
Oh,
I thought you said you unplugged the echo.
But, oh my God. I'm going to have to roll with my Princeton Tigers again.
An ad pop up.
I feel like they got cheated last week. So they're going to come back.
They got cheated. They lost by 17.
Rest were highly in favor of Dartmouth.
You're high. But anyways, let's roll.
Is Iowa not ranked anymore?
They are.
Why does it not show it?
I will discuss. Alright. Let's start with probably the most trash.
Why are we not going in the order of the pictures?
I'm going in a different order, guys. Y'all chill.
Look,
everybody chill.
You send us information and then you go off script. That's
number 23, Navy, travels on down to South Bend, Indiana, to take on.
Travels down. I don't think you know where South Bend is, my guy.
Do you know where Navy is?
Still be north.
I don't think so.
Travel down to South Bend. South
All right.
Bend is highly north Indiana, my guy.
No, it's not.
What? South Bend, Indiana is midway north Indiana.
Well, do you know where?
Is in Maryland. Yes, I know where it's at.
If anything, it's parallel. Actually, it's slightly up.
Okay, what I tell you.
But it's a flat Earth, so basically they're just traveling across a plane.
Shut up.
Anyways, Notre Dame.
Still gotta go north because it's up.
Notre Dame's 7.5 point favorite. But considering, and I think Notre Dame as Catholics do appreciate our fine veterans and future veterans. So I think that they will respect Navy enough to let Navy win this game.
I don't think they're actually gonna let somebody win.
Well, Navy's triple option is going to confuse the hell, and I mean hell, no pun intended, out of Notre Dame. Touchdown Jesus takes the L this weekend. Navy.
You're going to hell, Ryan.
What's Navy's mascot? It's got a goat in it, but I can't think of what it is.
I don't know.
Y'all go on. Make your pick.
It's you, Gabba
You go.
I'm gonna have to. Oh, let me find this game because it's out of damn order.
The midshipman. That's what it was.
Let's see. I'm gonna have to roll with Navy because of multiple reasons. Their one loss is to a 18th ranked Memphis. Along with my boy plays for Navy, so I gotta rep Navy.
Who's your boy?
Devin High.
Never heard of him. Hey, you think you could get him on the pod? That'd be hard, honestly. I'm slick buying a row the boat shirt tonight.
First off,
What's happening?
You can't. You gotta order my Christmas present.
That one's hard.
That one is hard.
Anyways, I'm gonna go with Navy because my boy Devin. And like Ryan said, the triple option is gonna confuse him because for a team that's filled with a bunch of Catholic boy touchers, seeing a bunch of little Navy men run around is gonna get them all flustered and confused. So they're not gonna know what to do.
Well, I don't agree with your method. I do think that the Navy midshipmen will win.
I also think that Navy will win. And I won't throw any jokes at Notre Dame, except for I have to say, fuck Notre Dame. And that's just for personal reasons.
Why you hate Notre Dame? You hate everybody but Tennessee? Oh, Miami?
I like plenty of teams, but there's a few that you just have a stronger hate for than others. I got about 5.
Ohio State, Notre Dame, Florida State.
Florida State. Not necessarily, actually. I like Jameis Winston.
How you gonna be a Miami fan but not from Florida State? Oh my goodness!
I don't hate.
But she likes Jameis Winston. Probably the biggest punk of this decade of football.
I liked him as a player.
Have you seen Marcus Mariota?
He's
bum ass bitch. That's what he is.
He's not a punk. He's a very good guy. He's the type of guy that if my daughter said, "Dad, I'm dating Marcus Mariota," I would say.
I'd say trade him out for Ryan Tannehill, a real winner.
I'd say he's a quality
Hell yeah,
man.
Ryan Tannehill been balling out.
He's not a winner, but he's a quality guy.
Anyways, Navy is very underrated, and they need the credit. So I think that they're going to
Plus, they
trying to
protect our country.
Yeah, that's true. It's been Veterans Day this week. Let's respect the troops first of all.
So who is it though? You got Florida, Ohio State, Notre Dame,
Alabama. I guess just 4 in my really don't like them list.
Did I say all 4? Yeah. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Florida, Alabama.
Yep.
I'm mad, guys. There are no good row the boat shirts.
What happened to that one gray one?
It was out of stock.
Oh.
All right. I didn't write this one down, and it's definitely not in order.
Oh,
but
my.
USC travels to Berkeley to take on the Cal Golden Bears. Y'all got any jokes about that?
I can't be doing all these games that are not on the list.
Okay. Well, good, because I don't have anything.
Because if you were a director, you'd be fired. But, oh, no, you forgot this line. I didn't put it in the script, but...
Actually, guys, in show business, anything goes. On to the next.
That was a quick game.
Yeah, I'm not picking that shit. Because I don't know. Just because both these teams have took the L this year, we'll go SEC Game of the Week. Georgia travels to Auburn. I think that's the city they're in as well, Auburn. Where Auburn is a 3-point dog against the Dogs.
Oh, I looked up the meaning of War Eagle. Have y'all seen that?
Not exactly.
The dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Other than why you're named Tyler? I actually don't even know why you're named Tyler, so if it was a good reason, I'm sorry.
I think Ryan's just mad because, I actually had to work for my stuff. I wasn't handed everything to me like he was.
So what's the reason?
Anyways, it was back in the early 90s when they first played. If I'm not mistaken, it was Georgia. There was a veteran in the stands.
In the 90s or 1900s? My man says segregation into the 2001. He doesn't know his numbers at all.
That was so funny. I forgot to laugh. You bitch.
Let's doodle.
Yeah, it was 1900s. But there was a veteran in the stands who had an eagle with him, and because he was in the war, they said that is their war eagle.
Yeah, 1930. That's stupid.
That's the dumbest
That's
thing.
very ignorant. First off, who carries an eagle just on your side? That's kind of hard, but at the same time, a little weird.
I looked up how Alabama became Roll Tide, too. That's pretty stupid.
Yeah, they forgot to do their laundry once, and they was like, just roll it in Tide, buddy. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
On to the next.
I swear to God, I'm about to quit the podcast.
I'm going to take Auburn. Hold on. Yeah, I'm taking Auburn. You know what?
I'm taking Auburn.
My team's going to be 8-2 after this week, baby.
Dang, I didn't realize how much that's going to screw up the playoffs.
War, damn, Eagle.
You trying to get us sued? What are you...
You can hit it.
War Eagle, baby. So who you got?
War Eagle.
I think Savannah doesn't even know like who she just picked. She just said the same thing that I had just said.
She said, War Eagle.
You
Who's playing?
You don't know that.
So,
Ryan, it's past my bedtime. I'm dying right now.
So who do you think's gonna win?
I'm on that adult life now, Ryan. I get up at 6 a.m., so I go to bed at 9 p.m.
Well, who do you think is gonna win?
Who does Auburn play?
Georgia.
Then I'm picking Georgia. I changed my pick. I didn't realize they were playing Georgia. I'm honestly like a little bit out of it right now.
She's drunk, guys.
She's
Very
not even drunk. I feel drunk.
She tipsy.
But I do have Georgia.
Atwood, who
Let's
you
go.
got?
Speaking of drunk, I'm gonna get drunk.
I'm going to go with... Just because I don't like why Auburn's called War Eagle, I'm going with Georgia.
Eagle, brother.
They could lose every other game for the rest of their life, and I don't care. Wait,
Y'all hear this?
I bet that's water.
We are now an ASMR
Smell of
podcast.
it. Punch.
Dang, you be taking that to class?
Hell yeah.
She
The kids don't even know I'm turned up. No, I'm not turned up. Don't report me.
Alright, so you took
I had a one.
Georgia.
I made 3 gallons of this punch, and so I put the 3-gallon pitcher does not fit into the refrigerator, so I had to put it into my 1-gallon pitcher. But I had about another gallon left, so I took all of my enclosed bottles and filled every single one of them up.
it's okay,
and then
she's
drank
an
the rest.
alcoholic, guys.
So that's why we're having a poker night here, where everybody can drink Hunch Punch.
Anybody who listens to the pod is invited.
Come drink Hunch Punch, please.
It's not even to play poker, just to get drunk.
We're alcoholics here. Alright, next podcast.
Next podcast.
Next pick. Let's see, who have we already picked? I've went out of order.
We picked Navy and Notre Dame
And
and
Auburn.
and Georgia. Why is that not the last game we picked?
Yeah, it says number 1. That's the number 1 game, right? You got us picking fucking Oklahoma and Baylor last, or Minnesota and Iowa.
We're picking Minnesota and Iowa next.
Right.
I was doing what the college game day was going to Baylor, Oklahoma.
The fuck was you thinking?
I dropped the ball.
Stupid.
It just means more.
I'm not
Anyways,
gonna get the chance.
It meant so much more that we had to pick it earlier. That's what it was.
Is that what it was?
Minnesota travels on down to Iowa. Row the freaking boat, baby. PJ Fleck, Arthur Fleck. Coincidence that they're both going hard in the same year? I think not.
Who's Arthur Fleck?
The Joker.
Oh.
I came up with this whole theory. Arthur Fleck, baby. He goes,
I don't think he does that.
Fucking quit.
Minnesota's going to row the boat all the
Don't
way to the
ever do that
championship.
again.
Hell World to the max. Who you got? Savannah.
I shouldn't pick anybody since he's making that damn noise. Anyways, Minnesota. Iowa. Who cares about Iowa? Who could even point to Iowa on a map? That's what I want to know.
It's northwest.
What's in Iowa?
Potatoes.
What's there?
No, that's Idaho.
That's Idaho. Exactly. What the fuck is in Iowa? Where is it? Does it exist?
Farmland.
So
We don't
you
know.
chill.
We don't know that it exists. I don't think it does. It's a conspiracy. The government is tricking us.
If you think about it,
So
what's really in Minnesota?
who knows what's in most of the states?
The Minnesota Timberwolves?
You don't know.
I do.
You've never been.
He said, I do.
You've never been to Minnesota.
It
So
could
how
be
do
a
you
made-up
know?
place.
I've been to Iowa.
It's fake, Ryan. Everything around
I've
you.
been to Iowa.
Everything around you is a
You have?
simulation, and you don't know what's real and what's not.
Basically,
First off, I feel like Ryan's been to all 50 states at a young age because his family is very, very, very wealthy.
No, he's been to plenty of countries. He don't
Oh, yeah.
deal with the
He's
domestic travel. He's all
That's
international.
too cheap for me.
Fuck.
My dude went on like a 2-week trip to fucking Europe. 2 weeks.
Here's
I
the
once
thing.
spent 5 days at Defeated Lake Campground.
He did it for shits and giggles.
I did it to go to a wedding.
He said,
2 weeks.
I'm getting bored of the U.S. I need to expand my horizons. With his rich people voice. Anyways, it's my pick. Did you say it's at Iowa?
Yes.
You know, I'm picking Iowa. Instead of when they turn around and wave at the little kids at the hospital, you're going to zoom in, and all you're going to see, what is that?
We went past our time
Oh.
that I had prefigured, so... Alright,
But,
when they wave at the kids, what are they going to do?
all the little kids are going to hold up signs and be flipping them off, say, fuck the boat.
No, they're not. Do not wish that on them little kids.
Them cancer said, oh, no, that's
Yikes.
rude. I ain't going to.
That's a straight shot to hell, baby.
I didn't finish that sentence.
That was going to be rowing the boat across the river of Hades. So, who did you pick?
Minnesota.
I said Iowa doesn't exist, Ryan. Who do you think I picked?
Them cancer kids are going to be like, I have cancer and it sucks, but it's not near as bad as Minnesota's football team.
God bless. I hope no one listens to this podcast.
That's fuck.
Alright, game of the week. Except it's not game of the week.
I don't see
according to
how.
y'all.
Because nobody cares about either one of these teams.
Number 10, Oklahoma, travels to number 13, Baylor.
Have you been to both those states?
I have been to Texas. But in Savannah, just so you know, Chip and Joanne Gaines are going to be the guest pickers on College Game Day. It's been decided in Waco. So I'm taking Oklahoma.
Why is this College Game Day?
Because it's two very good teams.
No, it's not.
They're going to Baylor, dude. I'm taking Oklahoma, though. I think the Jalen Hurts and that offense are too good for Baylor to stop. I do think that Baylor beats them in the rematch in the conference championship, though. That is, if Oklahoma can even make it, because TCU's going to beat them in 2 weeks.
What's their record?
You heard it here first. 4-5.
You're...
They have the same record as Kentucky. Gary Patterson should be fired. His sorry ass.
No, we love our coach, unlike you. Our coach is good.
Probably still try to make an argument with.
Look,
I'm also pretty sure
this
Mark
is how
Stoops.
Ryan's parents react to his presence as a kid. It's all the reindeer. Three presents for each. So Ryan got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21,
How many reindeer are there?
27. The back one's so small. Blitzen is so small. I couldn't see.
Enter 7 reindeer.
Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and
And
then
Rudolph.
Rudolph. So 9.
Wouldn't it have been easier to do 9 times 3?
Would have been. But instead I tried to look and count how many there were as I went.
So who are you picking in this game? Oklahoma versus Baylor. Chip and Joanne Gaines will be there.
You ain't even gonna ask me
Who's
this
Chip
one,
and
you
Joanne Gaines?
stupid
Is that the people off that home
Yeah.
remake show?
Yes.
Word?
Their stores in Waco.
Yeah.
The shithole of America.
I want to go to Waco and go to her store, even though I know I can't afford anything there. Still want to go.
Well,
I'm
you
never-
got Ryan. He could buy the whole store out.
Say, I'll just take Ryan.
I will
He'll walk
never-
in. How much for the entire store, please, sir?
I will never go to Waco.
Yes, you will.
Never.
Anyways.
I wish I had money like
obviously. Baylor's trash, just like their whole conference.
Ooh.
Boomer's You can't go to triple overtime against TCU. TCU's low-key garbage this year, and they went to triple overtime with them. Oklahoma's going to easily beat them.
Here's the thing, though. Gary Patterson was safe because you'd win, 8 to 10 games a year?
That's all he's got to do. He could win 7 games a couple of years, and nobody would even, they'd be like...
So here's the thing with him winning, possibly a chance of him winning 4 games.
He did it last year. We love him.
He only won 4 games last year?
2010, he won 4 games.
No, the year right before we won...
No, 2011.
12.
Because it was 14.
But that year was a little...
I'm sorry.
That year was a little different, though, because we had a quarterback...
This Hunch strong as shit.
We had a quarterback that had to go to rehabilitation because he was on the cocaine.
Cocaine.
Why don't you just say rehab?
You know what? Cocaine just...
So who you picking in this game?
She picked
I
Oklahoma.
picked it 4 times. I said Baylor's fucking trash.
Okay, I wanted to hear that one more time. Screw Baylor! That was he dropped.
Yeah, but I said that they just barely beat TCU, who was more trash.
That's my point.
Thanks. Let's see.
If they couldn't beat us at our worst, they couldn't beat Oklahoma at their average.
Jalen Hurts is on a mission this year, but I'm going to have to go with the children of God. Baylor up.
Okay. That wraps it up for this podcast.
When you have Jesus in your heart, you will always win.
Yo, Jalen Hurts said his last name is literally because of the hurt that Jesus Christ took.
First off, he don't get to pick why his last name is what it is.
Well, Jalen Hurts represented salvation when he left the University of Alabama and went to another school.
I could tie my last name to Jesus. My last name's Atwood because he showed Noah the sign to build the ark, and they were at wood building the ark. There you go.
So how could you tie Colbreth to Jesus? So I turn off the fucking names.
Ryan said,
This guy's been chased by a turkey. Not a turkey. A rooster.
Ryan said,
Anyways, Colbreth. Jesus gives us our breath of life.
Ryan said, I don't need to tie mine. I've got money.
Here's mine.
Put this in the refrigerator for
Jesus.
Thank you.
Jesus made sure that our sin took away our sins, so that any chance of us going to hell were nixed on the cross.
That is the worst.
Dude, it's better than that. I'm gonna build this out of Atwood.
I didn't say build it out of Atwood.
Alright, PodBois!
I said build it out of wood.
I'm still going right now, honestly. But
He's just mad. I don't see why he's got all the money in the world. He made Donald Trump's $1 million loan look like he's broke ass boy.
But honestly though, I wish. Alright. Follow us at PodBoys_podcast. Listen to this on Spotify. Listen to it on Apple Podcasts. Listen to it on whatever, except for SoundCloud as of late, because I have not been uploading it to it. I'm very sorry if you're a SoundCloud listener, but if you were, you wouldn't be listening to it right now.
Because he's got so much money and have other time, so he has no time to upload because he'd rather go out blowing his money.
He said, you listening to music for free? We don't deal with that broke shit.
Yeah. He said, get your bands up.
I'm about to try and get it on Disney Plus. I'm still trying to
get
live
action of the podcast.
I'm still trying to get the baby on the podcast, but he did not respond.
Yeah, the baby said he wants $2 million, and Ryan said that he would only, for some reason, try to give him $5 million, and that's the final option, and it kind of threw the baby off track.
Yeah, honestly, Atwood said some racist stuff, and it made the baby not want to get on. Then I had to try and explain that the guy that sounded like a little white toddler was actually a mixed male. So, thanks for being racist, Atwood, and ruining our conversation with the baby.
I'm not gonna lie, my leg just twitched and I almost kicked the shit out of you. I took all the restraint in my body to hold it down.
Honestly, I wish that we did a live action. That way you could see how freaking random Savannah acted during the entire podcast.
What?
Because just listening, I can imagine that you think like she's crazy. Yes, she's crazy, but not as crazy as she puts on.
The thing is, we could honestly pay for a live action with all Ryan's money.
Honestly, I could do a live action, maybe. All right.
Because he is filthy rich.
Let's start videoing it. Why don't they see the mess that
Screw
we're
it,
living
let's
in
do it
on the
live.
couch?
We'll do it upstairs.
We
Next
almost
week,
did
we're
once.
coming live on Twitch TV.
Streaming on Twitch podcast.
Or on Periscope. Alright, screw it. I'm out.
Or
Give me the switch, Ryan.
or Pornhub Live. Whatever y'all prefer.
But honestly, though, like...
See, that's the thing. We can do it on Pornhub. You know why?
Why?
It's No Nut November.
Perfect time.
We can help everyone out by not nutting. But, I mean, when I make my good picks about the gophers, they might be nutting because...
You know how disturbing that would be,
we'll
though,
make
if we're on Pornhub and people are nutting to us?
We'll make some jokes about USC and they're like, fuck yeah.
I could just,
Give me that lotion, boy.
maybe I could just, like, any profit that we make, I could hire someone. Definitely not me. Or anyone with any self-respect for themselves, but I could give them, like, a Trojan outfit and make them have sex with, like...
So now you're promoting pornography.
You literally just said we were going to do our podcast on
On
Pornhub.
No Nut November.
We ain't video on pornography in this house.
Oh, not me.
No one.
Ryan's like, we're going to be filming with people having sex in the background.
Hell no.
They're Trojans, Savannah.
No.
No, it wasn't even here.
Nope.
This got too wild.
I'm not. I wouldn't listen, honestly, when you said it, but, like, if anyone's having sex anywhere near me, nope. No, I don't want to see that.
Honestly, like, what if we got a Trojan sponsorship? That would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Hire at us, Trojan. I will wear your t-shirts.
Oh, I thought you were about to say condoms. I was like, oh, God.
It's No Nut November. There is no need for condoms.
No need for what?
For condoms. Or condiments, for that matter.
In that case, the way it sounded like, listen, in about 12 months, you'll hear a little baby.
Pretty sure you messed
12
up.
months?
Pretty sure you messed
I don't
up
think
on
you want to
November
have the
1st.
baby on here like as soon as it's born at 9 months.
Yeah, anyone's baby that is born 9 months after November, you might as well be beheaded because your parents were enemies to the state.
You're kind of like the Valentine babies.
What is it?
I'm a Valentine's baby.
My point.
It's not us.
Almost.
What are we? September babies?
No, y'all are June babies. Anyways, y'all
No, like when we were
Well,
conceived.
You dumb bitch. Obviously, I know what month I was born in.
You're June babies.
Alright.
No, I didn't know that.
Guys, this is getting too crazy.
Hold up.
Serious, man?
No, we'd be October babies.
It's over.
Alright, let's wrap it up. That's what she said.
'Cause
PodBois!
Out.
Ryan's got a lot of money.
Out!